My first recollection of Garrison was doing he had, I believe it was a half-hour radio show every Sunday morning here in St. Paul. And Tom Keith was there, who was, of course, a mainstay later on in Prairie Home. Prairie Home didn't yet exist. And I went in to talk to Garrison, to meet Garrison, talk to him, and do an interview. I can't remember if I played on this show, but what I do remember is that it was the first interview of its kind for me, meaning one where you could actually have a conversation without violating the form of an interview. I don't know how he did that. It's hard for me to think of, truly, of any other interviewer where it's worked like that. I've done that with other people who are, good at it, but I think the quality that everybody hears in Prairie Home was there, and that's what the interview was. It was close, comfortable, and familiar, but with a kind of a background of, I hate to use this word, of sophistication. I really hate to use that word, but I can't think of another one at the moment. And it's there in Prairie Home, but I wish in Prairie Home he could devote maybe a half an hour each show to interviewing somebody, just talking to them. My first memory of Prairie Home is a blur, because I did a few, and I can't remember when it started for me, but I remember that at the time all of the participants stayed on stage, and that was preferable to the way it's done now for any of the acts, because when you go out, it's the same thing as catching a moving train. You don't know where the curve is, you don't know what the rate is, you don't know what the speed is, but that's how it's done. And you adapt. It was a ball when you could sit there for the whole show, and because you'd be inside this interaction that the show is made of. And it was revealing, and you saw more of Garrison as as one of the acts than I think most people get to see. I was standing next to him once when you could feel it. I mean, you could feel it. He took off. He was talking about installing a picture window in his house when he was a kid. And shortly thereafter, after you learned that much, you could feel him take off. He had an idea of what he was going to address, but he didn't know where he was going to go, and he all of a sudden found it. And it was a thrill to feel that, and then to see where he went, because he was vacuuming in front of the picture window, and people would drive by and watch him vacuum, and he realized in that moment that that's what show business is all about. He learned more about performance with that vacuum cleaner than he had yet known. That's kind of the feeling I had. It was hilarious. It wouldn't be here, but it was spontaneous. And there aren't many things in broadcast that are spontaneous. I see the people who listen to the show when I'm touring. It has a big reach, not just here, but outside the country as well.